so here is Quinn's video. This has been a very big video.
Yo, what's going on, boys? I just wanted to make a video talking about World of Warcraft and effectively why I've quit so early and why I think, I quit Dragonflight so early last time as well, and why I think WoW in general is just bad. Now, don't get it twisted. I ain't some WoW hater, okay? I ain't some WoW hater. I am a WoW Andy through and through. The most played game of any game ever across my entire lifespan is World of Warcraft, and I've played a lot of games, let me tell you, bro. I've played a absolute shit ton of games. I love WoW, and, I really, really want World of Warcraft to be good, because when WoW was good, life just...
Says, I think that you just grew out of MMORPGs. I feel like you could make that argument, but you can't when the guy plays PoE. That's like saying that, like, you grew out... Like, guys, I grew out of eating unhealthy. I used to eat at McDonald's, but now I just go to Golden Corral every day.
Bro, I don't want to do anything else except play it. And that's currently not the case right now. And I'm going to point out why. Also, I want to preface... I'm not some classic Andy. A lot of you guys probably think, like, oh, this guy is... Well, he likes WoW, but he just likes old WoW. No. Okay, well, technically, yes, a little bit, but no.
Quinn did get a lot of shit back in the day during Classic WoW release because he was critical and he wanted changes for Classic WoW. I remember this. It's not really an MMO. Yeah, but I don't think that you outgrow... Like, I don't think you're outgrowing a genre. I think you're outgrowing a type of gameplay. And like, a cyclical type of gameplay. I think that's really it.
I hate the the classification of everything nowadays, where they're just re-releasing the same shit with a new coat of paint over and over again, doing it in games, doing it in movies. Mm-hmm. Whenever they announce classic, believe it or not, I was pretty upset. I was like, well, this is shit. Why are they doing that? Why don't they just make the retail better? And that's fundamentally how I feel.
Yeah.
Why don't they just make the new one? Like,
you got a lot of
shit
for this
that people like about classic, except make it better, right?
From me,
maybe innovate.
I disagreed with this.
Come up with some new stuff that really elevates the game to a level that we never thought possible. So why does WoW?
Well, it did. I don't know if it elevated the game to a level we never thought possible, but Shadowlands put it at a level we never thought possible. I'll tell you that.
Really suck. What I did is I just made a bunch of bullet points as to why I think it sucks. And, the ones that came up first, I guess the ones that are probably closer to the surface as to why I think WoW sucks. Straight up, early access. The fuck is that? Why it totally kills the hype of an expansion. Why the fuck does that exist?
I wonder why it exists. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. It's a mystery. There's 40 reasons why it exists.
It's not even early access. It's just some shit they're saying to basically let you pay to win and get into the game earlier so they can make more money. And then all the stuff is locked anyway and you can't do fuck all. So they're basically scamming you. And then on top of that, you're playing and it's like not hype because half the people aren't playing. I don't know. It's just a terrible thing. And I honestly, from a marketing standpoint, I think you're shooting yourself in the foot, right? Like, yeah, you're going to make some money.
Somebody says PoE releases an early access game for $60, but it's different. I understand that there's always like this fixation that really, really low IQ people on the internet have, that because they're so stupid, they don't understand anything. And so they hear one thing and one thing contradicts with their misunderstanding of another thing. And then it makes them feel smart. Please, you're not. Just go lay down for a while. Why don't you teach them then? You cannot teach a pigeon to play chess.
Money from these, pay piggies who are going to get the early access, just like me. But what you're trading off is like the hype of, oh shit, boys, on this day, everyone's logging in and we're all playing World of Warcraft for this expansion. And they're basically, the early access, that immediately is a vibe killer. Followed by the 3 weeks of time gating. 3 weeks of time gating. Come on, man. Like one week max. Changed my mind, bro. In the current state of what there is to do, 1 week max. Maybe I'm a nerd. I don't know. But I just think, that whole thing where, you think about like I don't know. I don't want to be talking about PoE too much, but you think about a PoE league, right? The league comes out.
Everybody's big dick. You don't want to do anything. Everybody's there. It's an event, bro. Everything's happening.
Except play the game, and you don't even want to sleep because there's so much new shit in the game that you got to try out. You got to pop off. You got to farm.
Yeah, this league, by the way, like Calgar, was, I think, probably their biggest W league they've had since like Ritual or Metamorphosis League. Probably since Ritual League. It's actually it, and I think it's bigger than that, but Ritual was the next league that was that crazy. Since Breach, yeah.
New shit, all the new... Well, guess what? That feeling of like wanting to degenerately log in and play the fuck out of the game just doesn't exist. Which, okay, again, is a hype killer. Now, what is hype? That's some shit that comes and then it goes. Yeah. That's not what makes the game feel good long term, right? That's just hype. I mean, that's just two things that I think is pretty bad. Now let's move on to the more, let's say, important things.
Okay.
Probably, I'd say one of the largest issues is the overworld. Okay, and what I mean by that is like not instance, out in the world. It feels dead, bro, and it feels bad. Why is that? And I asked myself that question as I was leveling. I constantly was thinking about it.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way to me. I can see why he says that. Yeah, I get that.
And I was like, man, I don't know what it is. And you know what? I feel like it's the fact that nothing at all poses even a remote challenge or is even a slightly dangerous or, even a little bit difficult. It's just every single zone, every single area.
Everything is like a target dummy bot that if you have a pulse, you're going to kill it easily and you're never going to stress out. Like the game is so easy and so effortless that it's like not even fun to play. Yeah, like and it's also like if you compare this to like classic WoW, I know he's not a classic Andy, but I am. And classic WoW leveling was genuinely fun and engaging and meaningful because getting an upgrade at level 21 meant that it was easier to get to level 25. But nowadays, you just don't have a dynamic like that. Like, I don't even care about upgrading my gear. Like, I'll do it because it's like, I want to do it. But who cares? It's just, it's so easy. Who cares about level 21? Well, people who are level 21. It takes you longer to get to level 21 than it would take you to get to max level in retail WoW. So at that point, who cares about max level in retail WoW? And that's a great question, isn't it?
Every single monster you run in, you can aggro as many monsters as you want. You can do whatever you can literally be holding down your S key, clicking your keybinds, and you just AoE them down. Run in, pull a bunch of mobs, AoE them down. And it's just how it felt. Like, I don't know, man. Bro, I had there was quests where it's building up to this big campaign boss guy.
Ooh.
You press 2 buttons on him and he's dead. Ooh. You don't even get to pop off. I love popping off.
Yeah.
Why are the monsters that are supposed to be big bad guys dying before I can even get a single rotation out? I don't know.
Because the game is meant for hardcore sweaties and brain dead casuals at the same time. WoW is designed to appeal to the bottom 10% and the top 10% of players, where the 80% in the middle is completely neglected and given an experience that's so watered down that it means nothing. That's the reason why. So you have like a lot of this content in the game that's so easy that it's like just effortless, meaningless. Nobody cares about achieving it. It's just kind of a participation reward content. Then you go into like Mythic Plus and there's a trash mob that has 3 separate mechanics and there's a pool of 4 trash mobs. And you have to do this on a timer. Like the level scaling and like the difficulty scaling for this is insane. It used to be a big deal to hit max level. Yeah.
It's pretty dumb. So I feel like that's a pretty large feeling as to why the overworld feels a little bit shit. Another huge reason, and I hark on about this all the time, and I feel like it's because it's a really big one, and honestly people disagree with it a lot, but I straight up think that flying in World of Warcraft, yeah, it's cool, but it's actually dog shit and bad for the game. In my opinion, there should be like one zone. You should have one zone. It can be the up area,
Storm Peaks,
whatever.
yeah.
They have one zone, and that's the dragon flying area. It's a zone design with a bunch of verticality, a bunch of those races and shit. So you can do the Hogwarts broom quests, and you can fly around, do all that stuff, and you can do all your flying and have all the flying mounts and do all that good stuff. But then guess what? When you get into the other zones, no flying. It's just ground mounts. And the reason why, like, why? But why does he not like flying mounts? Just don't fly, forehead. No, that's not how it works.
People will always choose the fastest way of doing something, even if it's not fun. That's just the way that any game is. And if you design a game where the efficient way of playing the game isn't fun, you're going to have people playing the game and not having fun. So you can never, as a game developer, blame the player that you have rewarded them for doing something that you don't want them to do. It's stupid. It's like, we're going to give you a cookie if you do this, but if you do it, you're not going to have fun. What a terrible design. Ground mounts are fun, what? No, I think that he makes sense because, like, so there's, like, an imminent danger, and there's a sense of perspective on the ground. Like, for example, when you see, like, the big tower, like, you can look up and see this big tower. But if you're looking at it from the air, it doesn't have the same type of scale and, like, grandeur that it would. I think that he's also right that flying should be part of the game. But the way that it's part of the game takes more away from the game than it gives to it.
The second you have flying mounts in the game, it becomes a teleport to XY coordinate simulator.
Up, down,
and what
over.
I mean by that is like, well, what do? You just get a quest, you get a thing, you go there. You hop on your mount, fly up, hornet, fly down.
There it is.
Get to the thing, go.
He knows it, I know it, everybody knows it.
You don't have to engage with terrain, you don't have to think about where you're going, you just look at your map, go to the point, do the thing, go to the point, do the thing. I mean, imagine if you're playing The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, bro, and Roach was a dragon, and instead of having to traverse the terrain, go through the different areas that are carefully crafted in ways where, you're going to have little puzzles and little things to get through and, like, jump, puzzle, all the stuff, except you could just fly right there.
Yeah.
It would be fucking dog shit. And you know what? It's fucking dog shit and WoW. Like, yeah, cool, it's fun. No, I like dragon flying, it's cool. Have a zone for it. Have all the little races and shit. Those are actually genuinely some of the best gameplay in the game currently, which is a little bit sad, but, also, hey, they can do something. Blizzard did make a new system that was kind of cool.
They did. True.
So you got to give them that. Yeah. Now, another thing that is bad, I think, for flying is the fact that, I don't want to talk about it too much, but, like, World PvP, all the natural hotspots that you would necessarily, like...
The problem with World PvP is that World PvP shouldn't even exist. It's always garbage. It's never fair. It's not fun for one person 90% of the time. Like, it's always trash gameplay. Like, World PvP is something that on the internet a lot of people really think is great because it's comprised of a lot of hardcore players. But the reality is that it's not a coincidence that every single classic WoW server has trended towards being one-sided. It's because people act like they like this environment, but whenever they're actually given the opportunity to choose to be part of it or not, they choose not to. That's really the reason. And it's another instance where it's like, you can listen to what people say, or you can listen to what they do. And I know that there's a lot of people that like World PvP, and I think that World PvP was better in Classic WoW than it is even now in Dragonflight or in BFA or Shadowlands. And the reason why is that it was like, it was cleaner, I think. It was cleaner. 5-stack rogue players crying. Yeah, and also, like, I mean, how many of you guys have had a situation where you're questing peacefully alongside a horde member or an alliance member, and you're the opposite faction, and there's an agreed upon truce between the two of you? You're over there, he's over here, vice versa. Then two of his friends show up. Suddenly, there's a burst of confidence, and he's ready to go to war. And it's a 3v1, and you're dead. It's not fun. That's not fun for somebody. Somebody has that happen once or twice, it's okay. But when that becomes the gameplay, people quit the game. Nobody wants to spend fucking hours having their time wasted because they're in an asymmetrical situation that they can't control. War mode off, simple. I get it. I understand. But World PvP was never meant to be fair, and it should never be a focus in the game. The only MMO PvP that should matter should be large-scale tower siege spectacle combat like Lord of the Rings. World PvP should not be a focus in MMOs. It's always garbage. It's always asymmetrical. It's never fair, and it creates more negative outcomes than positive outcomes. There should be instances where you can do it, but it should never be a focus of the game, and it should never be something that is designed around or cultivated. Because it's just that I think that 90% of World PvP interactions are completely asymmetrical, one-sided, and not fun.
You know, there's a base that everyone comes out of, and there's a bridge, there's a chokehold, there's going to be a lot of players commuting through there. Naturally, you can go there, gank them, kill them, and that creates, like, you know, situations where people group up and have little battles and stuff. That's, like, a part of what makes the overworld feel alive and feel cool. Like, yo, dude, somebody help at this bridge, I'm getting ganked, all that shit. I don't know if you guys remember Hellfire Peninsula. I don't want to go too far back and be like sound like some classic Andy.
Like, this didn't happen, though. It didn't happen. It was just some guy that would kill, like, low-level players at a quest giver and, like, Stranglethorn Vale. And, like, somebody would try to play the game, and they couldn't play the game. It did a bit. Yeah, it did a bit. And you know what happened after it did for a bit? Then the server died. Remember on Farolina? Remember what happened to Farolina? Farolina went 100% Horde. It's not a lasting model because people don't want to play the game that way. And this is the problem. Everybody says they want to play the game this way. They say they want to do this, but they don't do it. It's reflected in behavior. I don't care how many L's I get in chat for this. I'm looking at the numbers.
Boomer. But, like, man, that was some good times. And, you know what? That's actually a very bad example because people could fly there. Although most people were questing. So they didn't actually have flying mounts. So, hey, it was ethical. I think also another reason why Overworld feels shit and feels dead is the fact that people can instantly queue into random dungeons, and they don't really need to go anywhere. They can just sit in their fucking town, and they just spam random dungeons. So then, naturally, they don't go out in the world. I don't think that's cool. I remember vividly in the Wrath of the Lich King, going to the dungeon instances and literally camping entire 5-man groups by myself and a warrior. Now, obviously, sometimes you die, but sometimes you kill them, and it would be fucking amazing. And I had fraps running, so I was recording that shit, homie. I was recording that for my PvP, my Warcraft movies video. Now I'm sounding like a boomer, but yeah.
Yeah.
That shit was cool. And again, it created a sense of place and a sense of, the dungeon exists. It's at this place. It's a physical location you can see and go.
He's right about the dungeon things. The game does feel like a lobby simulator. It's felt like a lobby simulator for a really long time.
And there's players there going in and out, and it feels like the world is in a live place, and there's things happening, and that creates that MMO vibe, that MMO feeling.
Here's the best example of this, in my opinion. Leveling in Westfall and seeing an 80-man raid ride by you on their full epic mounts with tier 2, going over to ZG to get the buff. That's fucking cool. That's like, oh shit. That's the kind of experience you want to have. As I said, classic WoW, like it's kind of what I was saying before about how like Tolkien's like even like the etymology of the words that he used, it's like an onion where truly good and truly inspired design is an onion with layers that become increasingly more meaningful and incredible and insightful and just better. And bad games are like an onion that it just gets worse and worse and worse. And like classic WoW is like a game where even the mistakes, even the unintended consequences made the game even better. Yeah, they're rotten to the core. Yeah.
Not existing in the current version of WoW. I don't want to go into it too much because it's probably not a big deal, but I think War Mode in general is just bad. I think I prefer the game better where you just pick a PvP server and then, cool. Sweet as. You pick the PvP server, now everyone PvP's there. And then naturally, it means there's more people participating in PvP in general. It does suck being a streamer, but I think general, it's good.
I don't agree with this personally. People pick a PvP server in 2009. Server populations change over 2 years. Now the server is like 90-10. Their experience is dramatically different. They can't play the game, and now they have to either pay money to get somewhere else. Like it's just it's a terrible design.
Good to have more people engaging in PvP and being out in the world. Because again, it makes the world feel more alive.
Yeah. Then you don't pick PvP? Well, there's a lot of people that pick PvP. Like, almost nobody would pick a PvP server if they knew that they would lose every encounter. Like, I think that if you told somebody you're gonna pick this PvP server, and you have like a 60% faction advantage. Versus you told people you're going to pick this PvP server and you have a 60% faction disadvantage, you're going to see more people pick the server with the advantage. And this is kind of how these things escalate, right? It's common sense. Like I know that people have like this like weird, like Spartan 300 mentality, but this just simply is not reflected in gameplay. It's just not reflected in player behavior. And it's not reflected in gameplay. It's not reflected in common sense. Nobody's going to want to play a game where they try to join a dungeon and there's 7 people that are going to kill them on the way to the dungeon. That's not fun. There's not a way, you don't outplay that. You just lose. There's a romantic way to see it. Yeah, the romanticism of it like wears off in 20 minutes and then you quit playing. Nobody has a problem making a glorious last stand, using all their cooldowns to keep the 40-man raid away for 10 more seconds. That's really cool. But when that's all you do the whole time, then you're not making a heroic stand. You're a target dummy. It's not fun. Like, and also, again, this is reflected by player behavior. This isn't my opinion. This is player behavior.
Now, another thing that I think is currently really bad in current WoW, and that is class design. It feels far too homogenized. And what I mean by that is like all the cool niches, they're far and few between.
He's right about this too. Classic WoW had great class identity because classes were bad at things. Mages were bad at being able to do like crazy single target damage until they had like really good gear. Mages were bad at being able to do like consistent damage because they'd run out of mana. But mages were really good at AoE, and they were really good at kiting. Not a good thing? It is a good thing. Because when you give everybody... So basically, classic WoW, again, one of the most brilliant and greatest games ever made in all time. So, and that's just the way it is, right? Everybody knows that. So, the reason why it was so good is because each class was operating at 70%, let's say. But if you were a warrior and you teamed up with a paladin, now you're operating not at 140%, but at 200%. And classes had like this force multiplier with each other, where playing with somebody else didn't just simply make you stronger, it made you multiplicatively stronger because of the synergy between the classes. And it felt so much better to play. They still do, but there's no necessary reason for it to happen. That's the difference. Every class can heal now. Every class has a bunch of CDs. That's where the issues are.
Some of the most peak WoW moments and interesting and cool and fun things were like where your class uniquely can deal with a situation.
Exactly.
And where you can do a thing that no one else can do. Like, I don't know, there's some mechanic in a raid and everyone else has to move back. I'm a paladin, but guess what, bro? I have an invulnerability bubble I can press. Boom. I can press that shit.
Welcome to Tomb of Sargeras. Or are you kidding me? No, this is, I touched it years ago. Yeah, no, this is true. It's like everybody has like their moment of glory. Like hunters, like can kite General Drakaseth. That was so cool. Or mages can do that. Arcane Mage in Hellfire Citadel and Legion. That was nuts. That was actually WoD. You had rogues. What could rogues do that was really, really cool? Well, they could pickpocket. I mean, that was cool. Could sap. What was the thing the rogues could do? Rogue tank. Yeah, rogue tank, evasion tanking. Like, have you guys ever had a time where the tanks died, the rogue popped evasion, they stayed alive, and you killed the boss? Man. That's crazy, right? Warlocks were able to like mind control demons or like fucking enslave demons and like have them fight with them inside of boss fights in like Hellfire, in like a battle for Mount Hyjal. Like tanking twin emperors. Yeah, like Muru. Yeah, Muru, like warlock tanking with and like Illidan with like searing pain. Like paladins that could just like, you had like warrior tanks were always the best tanks. Burning Crusade comes out, paladin tanks just absolutely fucking clear everybody else in Hyjal. It's not even close. It was insane. So yeah, it's like everybody had these like really cool things that they could do for their class. And like now I feel like it's not that way anymore.
You're a rogue and you get Cloak of Shadows and there's this debuff that everyone has and they can actually run off the side and drop it early. There's all these sorts of little things you can do. Little things where if you're a master of your class, you have unique tools and kits that you can do that other people can't do. Like, I don't know, maybe you're a mage and you're supposed to be really good at AoE.
Spell
and
steal.
Like, this other guy's a Feral Druid and he's like really good at doing 2-target damage where you can bleed one guy and bleed another guy and he does insane
Arms
broken
warrior.
damage
Cleave.
in this particular
Sweeping
situation.
strikes.
And I feel like what happens now is it seems like, from what I
every
can tell,
class is designed to do basically the same thing.
in the current game, every single class has like a million different self heals.
Yep.
A million different procs. Just procs out the wazoo. You just attack. You press one button, it procs another button, which procs some other thing, which procs a passive, which procs a heal, which procs a shield, and naturally, this is my experience on I did with a red paladin, and I was just playing my enhancement shaman. Even if I wanted to like not AoE, my character just spams AoE by default. Same with the shaman. Same seems to be like every class. And what's happened is like everyone has a million procs, a million different. Everyone just does broken AoE, broken heal, broken mobility. Everyone just has insane mobility. And then when everyone has something, like when everybody has the ability to self heal, do AoE damage, do single target damage, do cleave, do all the shit.
Yeah.
Has the insane ability. Nothing really feels special.
Exactly.
Like, change my mind.
Yeah. You don't have those big dick moments where your class feels like you're special.
I don't know
Realistically,
I've never done this big of a pull before.
I should not be able to do this. Okay? With no damage, nothing. Look at my healing. I'm a tank. I'm a warrior. And yeah, I have good gear, but my gear isn't good enough to be able to do this. You see that? It shouldn't be like that. It's too much, bro. It's too fucking much.
Mages should be squishy. That can nuke
and it's
you.
Also, you know what? It not only is it too much, it's unearned. I think that's really what the problem is. Because like I could do that back in the day, but I earned that because I had the best fucking gear. Now it's like, oh yeah, of course, that's just the way the game plays.
You from afar, they cast an ability at you, right? And they should be able to control you and slow you and CC you. But like, if you get on them, right, then you should mess them up. It shouldn't be, nah, this mage can self-heal while teleporting, while instant casting, while doing, I'm not saying mages, to be fair, mages actually seem pretty balanced right now, but the point that I'm making is that it feels like, I mean, bro, I had a fucking hunter. I was 1v1ing a hunter. The hunter was literally healing his HP bar to full multiple times over, it felt like. Taking no damage, spamming. It's like, what? It's a hunter, bro. Why is he doing this? And then simultaneously, I'm a ret paladin, and I'm not. I mean, I don't know. That's supposed to be my niche. As a ret paladin, is supposed to be have to do some off heals, and I can't even do it. I mean, whatever, bro. The point that I'm making is, class design feels bad because they're giving everyone everything. And that whole dominating a niche thing just doesn't, it's not there. And I think, why is that? It's something to do. Everyone in chat says it's to do with Mythic Plus. They want
It has to do with small-scale competitive PvP and gameplay. MMOs should be designed around playing in groups of 10 or more. Not designed in playing around in groups of like 3 or 5 or 2. Like this whole classic WoW was designed around 40-man rating and 20-man rating. Arenas are garbage. If I could delete arenas from WoW, I would do it. I think they're garbage and they contrive game design. It should have always been rated battlegrounds.
They give everyone OP and Mythic Plus, but like, bro, I don't know. Maybe some classes shouldn't be as good as other classes in Mythic Plus. Just a wild thought, bro. In my opinion. This leads into PvP.
Well, the problem isn't that classes can't, because I think classes, if you have a competitive system, you have to make sure everybody can be competitive, because people that are playing at a disadvantage, that sounds good, but whenever you're at the disadvantage and you don't have time to respec, you're just going to quit the game, right? That's not fun. The problem is the fact that that's the way the game is designed in the first place. So enhancement shamans in Burning Crusade were not really that great a damage. But they brought out like these really, really good buffs, and people brought them anyway. And I think Burning Crusade raid interdependency was a much better version of classic WoW raid interdependency. Totem bots, yeah. Well, they brought in tools. Like everybody brought in their own tools. Whereas like now everybody's tool is damage and people bring in the same buffs.
Pacing. Because everyone has like a million passive procs and hots and dots and all sorts of stuff that what happens when you press like a button on a guy, well then they have to like slow down the PvP massively. They're going to nerf everyone's damage because if they just like, you press this button, it did 5 things and it just one-shot someone, well that's not going to be good for the game, right? Because it's way too complicated. You know, you attack and it does a 500 different abilities.
Well, that's the problem, is that one ability should happen at a time. The problem isn't that people get one-shot. It's that people get one-shot through a constellation of events.
Each other. It's just not, it doesn't work. So then what happens is...
Like, remember one-shots back in MoP where it was like Chaos Bolt and it was like, I'm a charging my laser, and you can see it and it's like, no! And it's like, he's doing it, oh! And it's happening and you can see it, oh! And then it hits you and you're dead. That was cool.
All your buttons, when you press them, they don't feel meaningful, right? You press your buttons, you're pressing your burst button, you're pressing your damage button. They're just taking slow damage like this. It's a slow... You can't even feel like, I'll like have all my shit up. All my cooldowns are up. They're in a stun.
You don't feel like whenever you hit a button in WoW, you don't feel like their health goes down after you hit that button. Yeah.
And they got no cooldown up, and I'm like, all right, here we go, boys. This is going to be massive. Big crit. This guy's about to get wrecked.
Yeah.
Boom, I attack. Nothing happens. And the pacing is just heinous. Like, heinous. And I think this is because of the fact that they've just, you know, got the classes to the point where this is what we're dealing with. Like, it's
17 defensives, 3 personal heals, 1 immunity, 2 damage reductions. You've got a gap closer, a evade ability. You know, like, it's too much.
So bloated.
And absorb,
like, I think less is more. I think that we should be doing far less things. That should be far less procs happening, far less abilities proc another, and they should be doing a lot more. Like, I should press my Templar's Verdict, right? And
they should go like
if my wings are up, I should see their HP go down by like 20%, 30%. I should see a rogue doesn't eviscerate on me full combo points. I don't have a defensive cooldown up.
That's just like classic WoW, and that's the way it used to be, man. It was so good because you could fucking feel it. Like whenever you'd see somebody dispel a unstable, I remember I would do BGs, and like, you know, back in the day, like we were the big dicks, right? And so we had somebody in our guild. I think it might have been Rob. That like we ninja the guild band together, and he had tier 6. He had tier 6 gear, and we were doing AV. And he would put UA on somebody. And like some little Karazhan priest would dispel UA. And it would just kill him. just kill him. That's what he did.
It should chunk the fuck out of me.
It was so good.
Not like, you know...
Yeah.
Whatever it is now, where you go in and it's just like 2 guys and then fucking 5 pits fly out.
Unstable affliction.
Dots going everywhere. Fucking beams, laser beams, hammers flying out, and just like both of our HP bars are kind of slowly moving, and you're like, well, I don't know. It's just not good. In my opinion, in terms of speed, like what is a good speed? My litmus test, I think, I was trying to kind of like
classic WoW.
Get this into a sentence where you can understand it. I think if
classic WoW had better PvP than any other type in WoW, any other time period in WoW, and it's not even remotely close. And the asymmetrical nature of it is what made it special and good. And every time that they tried to balance past that just made it worse. MoP was garbage. Like every problem that Quinn is talking about now in MoP was 5 times worse.
You're in PvP and you're two equally geared players, and they're both really geared up, if a rogue was to do a full kidney shot on the other player,
Less is more. Yep.
and the other player is not a tank, use no defensive cooldowns, doesn't trinket, does nothing, just stands there and just sits in the kidney shot, and that guy should die in the kidney shot. That's what I believe. If they do nothing, don't get peeled, nothing happens, and they have no defensive, they didn't do anything to stop it from happening, they should die. So not like insta-gibbing, but like, people can die. And then...
Well, you can have that happen, right? I mean, like, if you have really good gear, you can do that. Brother, when the fuck have you PvP'd? I was the first battle master on my server in Wrath of the Lich King. This was in 2008, by the way. Yes. 3,000 years ago. I remember how it used to be. Beating kids? Well, yeah. Guess what I was back then? I loved it. The reason why I stopped playing PvP was because it just... The reason why I always liked, like, if I looked back, I liked being able to, like, I liked being able to get really good gear and kill people really easily. I thought that felt really good. And when I couldn't do that, it wasn't fun anymore. At that point, I might as well just play a better balanced, better designed game. Like, if I'm going to play a balanced game, I might as well learn League. Why don't I just go back to Valorant? I want to start practicing Deadlock. Why would I play this shitty version of a game that's not supposed to be... Why would I do this? Like, if I can't go in there... Like, remember when I got Ashkandi? What did I do when I got Ashkandi? I think I did CG, like, once because I wanted to try something and get, like, an enchant or something. And then I did Warsong Gulch. I went baby seal clubbing. And it felt great.
I don't know if you tried some Battlegrounds in terms of PvP pacing. Healers. Specifically, I mean, priests are the worst right now, but like whatever, I don't know. Just healers in general. Any expansion where healers can indefinitely keep people alive while casting instant spells only and using no cooldowns... that's just bad, and it feels awful. Because what happens...
It's dog shit. Complete dog. He's so right about this. This has been a problem for years.
Is you just get, like, two teams of players.
And by the way, the game has to be designed this way. Because there are so many knockbacks, stuns, silences, interrupts, disorients, fears, horrifies, hexes, blinds, freezes, DRs, incaps that you can't even expect to be able to do a cast because of how many different things there are to interrupt. There are so many tools to interrupt. Like, I remember back in Burning Crusade, being good at a DK was being able to move away from a healer and interrupt them by death gripping them. That was cool. Now that's like the norm. Oh, I mean, Wrath, obviously Wrath.
And everyone's at full HP, everyone's just spamming AoE, and you're all just doing all these little procs, and everyone's just cleaving each other. It's like some PvE battle, like you're in like a Mythic Plus basically, and then everyone's just sitting at full life until eventually one of the healers goes.
And I also want to say too, somebody says WoW PvP is not the only content WoW can provide, right? I think PvP should always be a minigame. PvP and WoW should, like, MMO PvP is a joke. And Blizzard shouldn't even take it seriously at all. That's my real opinion. It's a complete waste of their time.
And then, people slowly die. And that's just the most unfun shit ever. It should be like, nah. You get a full poly on that healer, everyone bursts this guy, he dies. Or you, like, stun a guy and you can kill him. But, I had situations where it was 5v1 and we're fighting a backpedaling priest who has no idea what he's doing. No idea. He's, like, just hitting his face and just pressing onto random keys. And because of the fact that damage is so low, because they reduced it so much in PvP, and because instant cast spells are so OP, he's able to just slowly backpedal and just heal himself to full over and over again. And that just feels dog shit.
Yeah.
And overall, PvP just feels awful right now. And the main reason, in my opinion, why is that? I think it's PvP gear scaling. It's the new system. It's dog shit. It's a failed system. And I think it actually is the fundamental most bad thing they've done for PvP in the game, period. And what is that? That's some system where basically you get to max level, which takes leveling like for 3 hours.
5 minutes.
That's a whole other issue altogether. You get to max level. You do BGs for 5 hours. You get your entire honor set.
Gear. Yeah.
And then you get this gear which says scales to 626.
Yeah.
And it's better than all other gear that's not PvP gear, but specifically for PvP. So it completely trivializes any gear that's not PvP gear for PvP.
Right.
So it effectively means every single person's the same, because presumably you can play the game for 5 hours over the period of a weekend.
And if you're going to play a game where everybody's the same, why wouldn't you just play League or Valorant or a game that's better designed? That's all there is to it. Like, that's the issue. Like, there's literally, like, there's no advantage that WoW has as a PvP game.
Gearing is irrelevant. It doesn't matter, because everyone effectively scales to the same level. And it means all PvE gear,
Yeah.
dog shit. All Mythic Plus gear, dog shit. All any sort of unless it's specific crafted gear, it's dog shit. And what is that? It's just a template, bro. It's just
it's
literally
template.
like, hey,
Yeah.
Guess what? You're playing an MMORPG, which is supposed to be about like gearing items and stuff.
True.
And guess what? You get to like get your character leveled up, and you get a templated character. So you're just playing a normal generic dude. Maybe you can select a few of the secondary stats, so you can be like, maybe you guys are a little bit more haste or a little bit more crit. But generally speaking, you're just playing a templated character. And then you're like, oh, but wait, I could go to PvE and get like some fucking badass trinket or something and take it into PvP.
Wow.
You can't, because the trinkets, A, don't scale up, and B, they put a 2-set trinket bonus on the PvP trinkets that completely shit on all the PvE trinkets.
I'm going to be honest. Like, I think PvP's gear scaling and PvP and WoW is just a joke, and the entire fixation around it is a joke. Blizzard doesn't care about PvP. I don't know why players still care about it. It's totally a lost cause. It doesn't matter what the scaling for the gear is. It doesn't matter how many. It's just like it's just garbage. Like it's like basically, it's like what I was saying before about like an onion. Like the core of the onion is rotten, and the more layers that you peel away, the more that you find that the onion is rotten and rotten and rotten. Like that's it.
And in my opinion,
just worse
this
and
is just
worse.
terrible. It's terrible. It's awful for the game.
Yeah.
Because they make the PvP gear super tanky, super slow-paced. They make all of the fun, cool PvE gear completely useless. So now, like, any reason why you might consider, hey, let me go into a raid and go and get a piece of gear and take that into PvP. It's pointless. You're wasting your time. You're better off spending 30 minutes and just getting the honor gear.
People say most top-end players want templated characters like arena servers. Well, top-end players aren't who you should design the game for. Why would you design the game for a top-end player? That's stupid. You should design the game for an average player to make sure it's fun to play. Like, if you look at a lot of the classic WoW designers, like, when you hear them talk about the game, like, these people, like, they're not, like, amazing. They're not, like, rank 1 gladiators. Like, yeah, they're good at the game, sure. But, like, they have a profound insight into player psychology, and that's what makes games good, is being able to find that convergence between great, rewarding gameplay and player psychology. And classic WoW, Elden Ring, I don't know, Mario Brothers 3, like, I don't know, I could think of 10 other games, all capitalize on that convergence. Diablo 2 capitalizes on that convergence. Path of Exile capitalizes on that convergence.
you would ever going into doing PBE for Mythic Plus or raiding. Like some of the best times in WoW, in my opinion, are, I'm thinking back, Wrath of the Lich King, bro, getting a Deathbringer's Will, and just getting that trinket that turns you into like a Vicral dude and gives you like fuck tons of armor penetration and all this shit, and you get that trinket. Like, you're going and you're raiding every week. It's literally in-game content. You're engaged. You're excited for the moment where you kill this boss because you're hoping to get this loot. Doesn't drop. But every time you go there, you get past that stupid gunship battle. You get to the boss. You kill him. Eventually, it drops, bro, and you win it. You then take that into the battle-ground, and you take that into the arena, and you start dominating people, and it feels so fucking good, bro. It feels so fucking satisfying.
And it's not fair. It's not fair, and I don't care. It doesn't matter whether it's fair or not because it's fun, and you earned it by playing the game a lot.
Gimmicky, bit of a meme, not like the perfect balance or whatever, but who gives a fuck? This is an MMORPG. This isn't a fucking esport. You should not be balancing the game like it's an esport.
Exactly.
She's making it fun.
Yes.
And now,
true.
Okay.
There it is.
You have the other extreme end where you have like, just using Wrath of the Lich King. I'm not like a Wrath Andy, by the way. My favorite expansion was not for like PvP, but my favorite expansion overall was like Legion.
Yeah, that's what
I'm like a Legion, Mop, Wrath kind of guy, whatever. But I'm not saying the game should be exactly Wrath of the Lich King. I don't think it should. I think Wrath had plenty of problems. But like, we don't want two people running with Shadowmourns just absolutely annihilating everyone while they backpedal, right? So for sure, some items should be like maybe nerfed in rated arenas and rated places. Now
there shouldn't be any ratings. It's an MMO. It's not an esport. Stop making ratings. Like, just stop it. Stop trying to turn everything into some try-hard fucking ego competition. Just play the game and have fun. We don't need ratings for everything. It's not an esport. It's so obnoxious. You want to post a YouTube video of, your kill streak or how fast you clear a dungeon? Do it. Dark Souls has a great competitive, serious community. It doesn't need ratings. It's so cringe. Like, catering to this, like, ego gamer mentality. It's just so stupid. You don't think WoW PvP should have separate balance? No. It should all be the same. Like, you sound too detached. No, I don't. That's the problem, is that my opinion about this comes from somebody who has played a lot of other games, and I've experienced the reward that those games have made me feel. And I want that for WoW. And I think that a lot of WoW players are the ones that are too attached to their idea of the way the game should be designed. But I'm not attached to that anymore. I think that WoW players have become so accustomed to certain types of gameplay that they're just, like, they're completely accepting of them in, like, all ways. I'm not. I am a kind of person, like, I'm coming at this in a perspective of, I'm not playing. I have 35,000 hours on the WoW. But I've also got thousands of other hours on other games too. And I've been playing a lot of those other games more recently. And I've been seeing the way that these other games play and the way that WoW is inferior. Should be less spells too? Yeah. And I see the way that these are, and like WoW players are trapped in like these mentalities that are so unhealthy. Like so unhealthy. And I think that you saw so much of this dissonance in Shadowlands, where like you needed Covenant conduit energy. Why? Who decided this? This is stupid. Why does this even exist? So when I go back and I turn around and I look at the content now, I see how much worse it is than what I think it could be. I think the story fell flat. Yeah, no, and that's, it was dumb. Yeah, and I think that players are just so conditioned. Like WoW players only play WoW, so they're conditioned around contextualizing every decision around World of Warcraft. So it's like, because WoW did this at this time, this is why it's okay that WoW keeps doing this, because of what it used to do. But what I'm saying is, let's clear the entire fucking board. Like, I think that Final Fantasy XIV really came into its own and became its own successful great game when it finally did away with all of the old vestiges like defensive stance and, you know, tank threat and stuff like that were from World of Warcraft. And they did that in Shadowbringers. Well, actually, they did that in Stormblood, and it really kind of came into full swing in Shadowbringers. And that's when the game truly came into its own, and it became its own game that was transcendent. That's the problem. Is that so many of the, like, WoW is so much defined by its past that it can't look towards its future.
Only be the case in rated. Everywhere else, all the gear should work. And on top of that, the gear, all the shit that isn't completely broken, that should also work in rated. Change my mind.
Yeah.
And vice
It shouldn't even
versa.
be rated. It's not a competitive game. It's not. Like, we don't need it to. There doesn't need to be a competitive game aspect. Why? Why do we need this?
PvP gear shouldn't scale up. That system should be deleted, and the PvP gear should just be good. So what do I mean by that? So obviously you should have to get PvE gear and take it to PvP, and it should be good. Vice versa, you should have to get PvP gear. So if you're good enough,
Yeah.
to get to a high rating to get the PvP weapon,
He's totally cooking on this, by the way. Like, I was able to go directly into Sunwell Plateau after not raiding until, like, since, like, tier 4 or, like, barely tier 5, because I had full Brutal Gladiator gear. And, like, that gear was so fucking good that it was on par with Black Temple gear.
you can then get that weapon and take it into a mythic raid and fuck shit up early because you got like an early game weapon
Vice versa.
sooner than everyone else did. Because you can also, you're like you've spent time to get good at the PvP in game, and you've also spent time to get good at the PvE in game. You should be rewarded for that. And guess what that does? That cross pollination gets people. This is like a huge thing because PvP is dying, bro. It's fucking going down. Do you know why?
It's not dying. It's dead. It's been dead for years. It's been dead since I would say I think it's been dead really since like WoD. But like Legion was okay, but like BFA really killed it. And like Shadowlands Season 1 had like a really great resurgence, but then immediately after that nobody cared. Cuz like you remember Shadowlands Season 1 was really fun.
No reason to go in there anymore because the stupid trash system, which like takes the RPG elements out of the fucking MMORPG, which is like question mark, and people are like, well, why the fuck would I go to PvP? There's nothing there for me. There's no loot. I don't even like it. People kill me, and I'm trying to heal, and they kick my cast. I don't like that. Why would you step out of your comfort zone if there's nothing there to incentivize you out? So yeah, just delete the PvP gear scaling.
It says Solo Shuffle set a PvP per participation dummy. You think that I'm dumb because you're saying that? So you think that there's a lot of people participating in PvP because of Solo Shuffle? Has it ever occurred to you that the reason for that is because the way that it was designed previously was just worse? And also, like, so if Solo Shuffle was so popular and PvP was so popular, why is it that whenever I look at WoW, almost nobody really is doing PvP? Oh, I'll tell you why. It's because nobody really cares about it. And like two weeks into the expansion, after the season comes out, nobody's going to give a shit about PvP. It's going to be dead. It's not out yet? You can PvP now. Do you really think that PvP is going to blow up whenever the season comes out? Everybody's going to start PvPing when the season comes out? You're delusional. That didn't happen last season. Look at the amount of YouTube videos. Look at the amount of people watching content about it. You think this super popular activity that everybody used to watch videos for, everybody remembers the old WoW PvP videos, but now nobody can name a single one because nobody cares anymore? You really, like, I mean, this is such copium. It's so incredibly, people are coping so hard on this. You're coping so fucking hard. PvP is dead. It will never come back. You're wasting your time, and it will never change. That's it. It doesn't matter what Blizzard changes, if they add in some new feature, if solo shuffle is more popular than rated arena. Has it ever occurred to you that rated arena isn't a very good barometer of popularity either, because rated arena sucks? And it's not fun either? Wow, so one mode that sucks slightly less than another mode means that PvP is good. You guys don't remember what happened back in Cataclysm. I do. I was there 3,000 years ago. Almost half of my friends that played PvP quit WoW because they went to go play League. Because League was like, all of the people that wanted to be good at a PvP game immediately quit because they're like, this is just like WoW, except for there's less bullshit. It's balanced just for PvP, and it's a PvP based game. I lost like half of my friends list. Like, this is like, I don't know, like season 9, like the end of season 9, like season 10. So what would that be? Like 2011 to 12? Somewhere around there. So why can't WoW have that too? It's too complex. There's too many complications to the game. There's too much nuance to it. And the game doesn't have, like, League has a very simple design structure of just a handful of abilities that a player can easily understand and get into quickly. But with WoW, you don't have that. There's too many different levels of complexity that make it hard to understand for a new player. The barrier to entry is just way too high.
Literally, gear templates, right? It's just stat templates with a couple extra steps. Like, oh yeah, I found this gear out, bro. Took me 5 hours, bro, and now I've got a stat template. Trash. And you're going to hear people complain about it and say, well, that's just shit and it's imbalance. Yep. Fuck them, dude. Fuck them. This is an MMORPG. This isn't a fucking esport. If you go play League of Legends. Go play. If you want the game to be perfectly balanced, go play League of Legends.
Yes.
And guess what? If you're doing one of the tournaments, right? If you're doing the AWC World of Warcraft Cup, okay, cool. Then you can have your templated character on a tournament realm.
Yep.
You know, you're on a tournament realm, and it's got none of that broken shit there, and it's just mano v mano, and you can see who's the best gamer, whatever. But let the people
Somebody
play.
says League is dying because of too many champions. I actually, if they did a revamp of League where you could only play like 30 or 40 different champions, I would probably go and play it. But I do feel the same way. Why do you compare a MOBA to an MMO, you piece of shit? I understand that you're stupid, so you're mad, so I'll forgive you for it. But the reason why I do that is because these games don't exist in separate ecosystems. And my example of Cataclysm is that a lot of people played World of Warcraft because they couldn't play a MOBA. So as soon as a MOBA existed, they moved and they started playing a MOBA. That was the reason.
In the MMORPG, have fun in the MMORPG. Like, I want to be able to get my Vial of Shadows and fuck some guy out with it. I want to be able to get my PvE weapon and take it to PvP. Or I want to be able to get my, because I'm good at PvP and I can get to a high rating, I want to be able to take that PvP gear into PvE or into M+, or take M+ gear into PvP. You know, you get any which way. The systems should complement each other. They
Yeah.
shouldn't be totally against each other.
Vanilla WoW is the best version of the game. Like, if Vanilla WoW was S tier, Burning Crusade wasn't even an A.
Another huge reason.
It's not even close.
So yeah, this should probably be higher in priority. Actually, I mean, straight up just move this thing higher in priority. Another huge thing that is wrong with WoW, bro, and that makes WoW shit in the current year is the WoW token.
Yeah, he's completely right. It's such an obvious thing. If you can buy gold, it's garbage. Like, how could you possibly take any accomplishment in a game seriously where you can buy gold?
Just delete it from the game. Straight up. Do an economy
Yeah.
reset. I don't know. Make gold redundant. I don't know. The WoW token is so shit. It's so shit. It kills straight up
It kills the
a
entire
huge
economy.
portion of the in-game. Maybe
Yeah.
like half of the in-game for me.
Well, it contrives the entire economy. Because now the entire economy is built around WoW token, the value of a WoW token, the value of farming, and the value of that hour of farming versus a WoW token, it amortized into a $20 value. Power Software explained that account theft dropped 80% when WoW token was released. Yeah, no, I understand that Blizzard probably changed the WoW token because of people that are hacking. But that's not my problem as a player. Like, when Blizzard says we need to do this because our security systems are bad, that doesn't make me feel like my experience in the game is better. Like, you can't give me a business reason to explain why my gameplay is worse and expect me to say, oh, okay, that's fine. I don't care about that. Their security problems aren't my problems. My problem is the game. So if the game isn't delivering an experience that's rewarding and feels good, then why would I care? Oh, well, there's a lot of bots in the game. Well, then fix the bots. We can't fix the bots? Okay, so you don't want to fix the bots. You can't fix account security. So you're going to add something into the game to where now there's like basically buying gold. And so, like, what the fuck? Like, so basically, this was a big problem, so we decided to just make profit off of it. That doesn't make the problem go away. Close the fucking game. Yeah, it's like, if you don't care about the integrity of the game, why should I?
To be like grinding gold. I liked getting gold. I had characters that had multiple professions, and I'd filter all these things. I'd have herbs, and I would mill the herbs, and I would turn the herbs into glyphs, and I would sell the glyphs, and I'd do all this shit.
My earliest videos were WoW farming videos.
Why would you do gold farming, professions, carries, all sorts of things that you could do to earn gold whenever you spend time? Like, you could spend like 3 hours farming gold, or you could just work at like a minimum wage job for for the equivalent of 10 minutes to farm like 3 hours. I don't know, the ratio is insane, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're like literally in a world first guild and you're selling like the first mounts where you're selling for like gold cap per mount or some stupid shit like that. It's pretty much never worth farming gold. You're always better off to just earn real life money and then from the corporeal realm, and then spend it, put it into, and then get the money out. And just it basically kills off entire end games, in my opinion. Like
There's almost never a situation that a person with an average job would be more efficient playing a game rather than putting in overtime and then buying gold. This is a broken system. I'm sorry, it's a broken system. Any game where you can buy gold is a game where progression doesn't matter.
My profession, Andy, I love professions. I love that, bro.
Yeah.
Professions where you get like special perks and bonuses for having that profession leveled up, and then you can use that inside of rated battlegrounds and stuff. Like, man, fuck yes, bro. Dude, I'm actually sad, dude. I'm straight up sad they removed engineering from PvP arenas. Straight up, dude. That's how much of a fucking profession Andy I am. But guess what? I've done this, just what I haven't interacted with at all. This entire expansion, and that whenever I tried Dragonflight, same deal. Professions, because why the fuck would I? I can just get everything that I could want from the profession just by spending like.
That's the way that I feel too, because like Quinn's in the same position that I am, and I think that a lot of you guys are probably in the same position. How many of you guys make over 100K a year? Me? Yeah. A lot of you guys. There's a lot of people out there that make a lot of money. Right? A lot of you guys make a lot of money. You can afford to spend this money. You can afford to drop like, maybe $1,000, $2,000, probably sometimes even more than that, right? Yeah, sure. Fuck, who cares? But like, am I the only person that like feels that when now I have the privilege to do it, the act of doing it feels even more stupid than when I didn't have the ability to do it? Like, I feel like now because I can do it, I feel stupid for doing it. And before I could do it, I felt stupid that it could exist because I would have been able to do it, right? It always felt stupid to me. Yeah, it feels like cheating. Yeah, it's like I'm cheating. Exactly. I'm just straight up cheating. You just said 10 minutes ago nobody should care about ratings, but now you're saying the WoW tokens makes accomplishments meaningless. Explain. Okay. Let's see. Are you a disagreeer? Yeah. You said 10 minutes ago, WoW should be about ratings. WoW tokens makes accomplishment meaningless. Because rating systems are about competitive gameplay, and being able to accomplish things is a personal goal. And so when you create a rated system, you can drive an entire population into playing a game a certain way, whereas giving people a feeling of accomplishment is something that's personal. You understand? So how does a WoW token make it any less personal? Because I'm spending money inside of I'm spending money that I earned in real life to gain an advantage in a video game. Do you understand why that's bad? If I get Keystone Master, I feel good. I don't care if others bought it with gold. I do. I think it cheapens my accomplishment whenever I see other people that got the exact same thing that I did, but they just spent money with it. I think that's human psychology. And I think this idea that, oh, you shouldn't care about what other people have is directly contradictory to every single aspect of human psychology. And it's reflected in every bit of our culture, down to getting gold stars in kindergarten, up to buying Lamborghinis whenever you're a millionaire. Our entire culture is built around conspicuous showing of things that you've accomplished. Of course you're going to care if somebody else achieves something that you feel like you worked for and then they just got instantaneously. So it's not personal after all. So let me ask you a question. If you got Keystone Master, but somebody else could just press a button in, let's say, their garrison, and it would just give them the achievement for Keystone Master with doing nothing. They wouldn't have to do anything. They would just push the button and it gave them the achievement and the mount. Would that make you feel like that achievement meant less to you? You care about what other people do and think? Of course I do. Absolutely. And I think that's what everybody does. Now, why would it? I know I did it myself without getting a freebie. Yeah, but you don't know who did and who didn't. And there's no distinguishment between who earned it and who didn't earn it. People want to have things that they can be proud of and accomplishments that they can look at inside of video games and feel good about what those accomplishments are, and then look back at those accomplishments and say that I did this. When somebody else can get that accomplishment for a fraction of the effort or the value, it devalues the amount of time and effort and money, in this case, that they put into it. I think that we're denying human psychology here. Just because you might not see it that way doesn't mean that this is not a core tenet of human psychology. This is why almost every single apparatus has some functionality that rewards people based off of performance. And if everybody got the same performance rewards based without looking at performance, you would see lower performance and less investment. I don't go for Keystone Masters so others can see my cool mount. I do it for myself. So you have 25,000 achievement points, etc., right? And you've played the game a pretty good amount of time. I think that really you have a lot of feats of strength. You've probably accomplished a lot of these things. You've done a lot of this stuff, etc. One thing that I've noticed a lot with like people that play the game is that, and this is like the beginning of the expansion, so it's hard to say. But most of the time whenever I see people that do this, the things that they show off in game are the things that are unique and special. And I think for a lot of cases, that's the reality. People want to have things that are special. Nobody cares how you get the Lamborghini. It's just owning one that matters. Yeah, but here's the problem, is that if everybody could just buy a Lamborghini and the barrier to entry to that was very low, it wouldn't really matter anymore. It's a mindset difference, honestly. I do. I think it's a huge mindset difference. And I know that there's some people that have his mindset, but I actually don't think that that mindset is reflected inside of human behavior. I think most people do care about the accomplishments that they have compared to other people. And I think that the next MMO that's going to really be successful is an MMO where you can't buy cosmetics. I think cosmetic progression and conspicuous consumption of cosmetics and being able to show off that you're good at something matters a lot more than people think it does. And I think that people like to pretend like it doesn't matter because it makes them seem vain or stupid. But I do think that fundamentally, this is a huge driver in why people go for things. This is why people try to achieve certain things. It's because other people can't achieve it. And if other people can achieve the same thing that you can for a fraction of the effort, I think that it does massively devalue what that product is and what that thing is. Rarity adds value. Exclusivity creates value. And when you remove exclusivity from a feature and you allow people to bypass the exclusivity with money, it makes the people that work hard to get the exclusivity, that see other people that have obtained it just through money, it reminds them that this is just like real life, and these people can get exactly where you are for a fraction of the effort because they have more money than you do. I think that's a terrible dynamic for MMOs to have, and any MMO that sells, Any MMO that sells gold, I automatically don't take progression in that game seriously. It breaks immersion. It does. And I know that some people think that it doesn't for them. And I think that there are individuals that that's probably true for. There are. But I think that if you look at it as a whole, it is not true. It's rating in games, so people do care what other people think about their accomplishments. Because I think adding in a greater rating system and then adding in a PvP rating system makes a game competitive in a way that contrives the way that it's designed, rather than giving people individual accomplishments that they can work towards on their own. It's about how rating systems and ladders contrive the way that the entire player base views gameplay.
$30 on a WoW token, get all my enchants, get all my shit, get all my gems, and it's just more efficient. And to me, that's like sad because that's just a reason to not play the game now. It's just another thing that I could do and I could be enjoying doing, but I can't because it just feels stupid. It's the same reason, like, you know, people are going to say shit like, oh, if you don't like flying, just walk on your mount. Like, no, I'm not going to completely cuck and waylay myself.
You're not going to
like, that just shouldn't exist in the game, right? The WoW token is awful. And, bro, this argument that people have where they say, well, people are just going to RMT, bro. People are just going to RMT if the WoW token's in the game. Fucking ban the RMT guys.
Yep.
Ban them.
It's that simple. Yep.
Ban the guys who are cheating. All people cheat in every game. Ban the cheat. Don't just put cheats in the game legally. Ban the fucking cheaters. Okay.
Yep.
Ban him. Okay, I'm getting a little bit too heated. My bad.
It's not that simple. Okay, well, it is for me. If you have a game that just is full of cheaters and people buying gold, I'll just play another game. The token was in the game before Quinn decided to play this expansion, so now he's just using it as an excuse. You typed the same message, I think, 2 or 3 times, and I didn't read it the other times because it was stupid. And you're so insistent about it. You just keep typing it, thinking I didn't see your message. I did. I didn't read it because it was stupid. I'm not going to explain every single time, but yeah.
You know, on top of the WoW token, cosmetics, a little bit of in-game is removed. The fact that you can just buy cosmetics, it also devalues.
It does.
It just devalues every other cosmetic in the game. Like, why the fuck do we buy a game and then pay a fucking subscription to that game?
And buy expansions.
And then they also devalue the in-game cosmetics by selling you the cosmetics. Like, why is that a thing, bro? Selling gold, like, just that needs to be deleted from the game. I mean, maybe obviously, this is the reasons why WoW's currently dog shit.
And this is the problem, right? Is that, like, some people like to make the argument that Blizzard had to do this. Well, this is my argument. If Blizzard has to do this, then I don't have to play the game. That's fine. Like, if you feel like you need to make the game this way and you have to sell gold, then I'll just play something else. Like, I don't really see how Blizzard has this problem where you have to buy and sell gold and Blizzard has to facilitate it, where Path of Exile doesn't have this problem and the game's free. What? Like, it's insane. You're always going to have RMT.
And I'm like, yo, delete the WoW token and delete. Yeah, obviously, these are things that this is like. Obviously it's a pipe dream, but I'm kind of just hoping maybe like Chris Metzon's gonna come in and be like, for the Horde, the WoW token.
Sure. You're biased state the game because it isn't classic. No one cares if you play the game or not. You're a niche minority of people that don't give a fuck about what you're soapboxing about. I'm one of the most popular content creators for WoW ever. My videos are the most popular. Anytime a new expansion comes out, I have the most viewers. I probably know more about the game than almost anybody else. I used to be in the top 10 for achievement points for the game. I put 35,000 hours in the game. I know the game better than you'll ever know the game. And I'm not even playing it. I haven't played it for years, seriously. And you'll still probably never catch up to me. So just keep that in mind. Also, there are more people that have quit WoW than people that are playing WoW. So maybe you should listen to those people a little bit more. It's a weird flex. It's not a flex, it's just the truth. Like, obviously a lot of people care what I think. That's why everybody's watching me. People have asked me to watch this video because they care what I think because I know the game really well. A lot of WoW streamers that are fixated on WoW like to say negative things about me. I've seen this before. Any single one of them, in terms of career, I think would gladly switch spots with me in a second. They're stuck playing that game because they can't do anything else. That's the truth. So I don't really take away. So it's in their best interest. They have to defend the game because that's their meal ticket. And if that meal ticket dries up, then they starve because nobody wants to watch them play anything else other than WoW. That's just a fact. And the funny thing is that, like, these people can come back and say negative shit about me. And it doesn't matter because it will still be true. It doesn't matter what they say. What I'm saying here will still be true. And it will always be true. And that's why they feel like they have to defend the game. And they have to sneak this me because I don't have to. I don't have to pretend like it's okay.
It's deleted. We're overhauling the PvP system. Fucking cosmetics can't buy them anymore, boys.
Yep.
Let's fucking go.
You know, like that's kind of like that to me. For them to make WoW great again, this is what they're gonna have to do, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna either they are gonna do it or some other company's gonna do it, right? Another little thing as well. We'll just cap it off. I mean, I have literally like 4 pages of notes here of things that I think make WoW bad. These are just the major ones. I'm just gonna do the last major one here. Leveling, bro. It's literally not even in the game anymore. Boosts.
Yeah.
Like, way to kill your world as fast as possible. Let's speed run killing the world.
Yeah,
Let's
buying boosting. Yeah, that's insane. Want to make a co-op so because people say you're wrong about shit, they're biased because they're paid off. Ego's crazy. It's not ego, it's a fact. If WoW died, their channel and their career would be over. For a lot of them. That's just a fact.
boosts and let's make, you know what? While we're at it, let's just make leveling not even exist. Because leveling doesn't exist right now in the game. It's literally boost and then do quests for a few hours and then you're max level, or literally boost and then do dungeons for 2 hours and then you're max level.
Exciting.
Do you know how many of my best memories in World of Warcraft were me leveling up my main character or leveling up one of my ults? And it just doesn't exist. It's just another thing. It's just another entire thing you could be doing that's just removed because, I don't know, people think it's good. Like, man, I love being able to have, not earn any of my leveling and just instantly have every character boosted up and have every character at max level. This is great.
Yeah, it's stupid.
You know what? The rest of the game doesn't exist. It's only end game, which, I mean, bro, I'm sounding like a little bitch right now. But remember, I love World of Warcraft. I really want it to be good. And this is just the reasons why I think WoW's bad currently. Yes, they did. I would say that it's slightly improved in terms of storytelling compared to Dragonflight, because the Dragonflight story, I don't know, that one was so dog shit. I don't even really remember it. It was like some random cutscenes with like dwarfs and shit, and there was like some
I think the storylines in both of them are mediocre, but yeah.
Dragon guy. It was so dog shit. And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
The cinematics in the story, I went through the whole story of the new one with all the, it even had the...
Somebody says it's weird coming from him who boosted in Final Fantasy 14. It's weird that people like this is the remember what I said before about how every time that a person tries to call out hypocrisy, it actually indicates their own lack of IQ. Almost every single time that I see somebody saying, "Oh, but what about you did the other thing?" These are always like people that have like very, very low level intelligence. Has it ever occurred to you that you're making a great example of that? And your example that you're making actually proves his point? That he was able to boost in Final Fantasy 14 and he had a terrible experience probably as a result of that, which then proves that the boost was a bad idea. It's just like it's crazy how like these contradiction Andes, it's like they're so stupid they don't even know how stupid they are.
Recaps, and the cinematics got far more in depth with the characters, which I liked. And you could sit there and have the extended dialogue to get to know the people, and really, it felt better. So hey, they are improving in some aspects. But I feel like in almost every other aspect, retail WoW, I don't know retail WoW, just World of Warcraft in general, whatever the fuck you want to call it, WoW is just actively getting worse. And it's like, can you not do that? Can you just make it better? Because I love WoW, and I want to play WoW. But currently, modern WoW is straight up, I mean, it's a straight up, completely mid to maybe even below mid game. Okay, and I really am praying to Jesus, because what it will take for me, I'm quitting WoW right now. I'm quitting WoW. Like, I'm done. I'm fucking done. Like, I've had some sort of internal like meltdown because I've been sitting here.
I'm not quitting. Like, I'll play season 1. I'll try out the raid. I'll try out the dungeons. Maybe do some Mythic Plus. I'll try it out. Yeah, sure. I'm not quitting. I'll keep playing, but I'm not like super enthusiastic.
battling my own mind.
Yeah.
Like, man, I love WoW, but man, this sucks so much. This sucks, and I sit there and I'm trying not to be like fucking sitting there complaining
It's
the whole
smart
time.
for
But
him not to do. Like, yeah, if you're not having fun playing the game, you should immediately quit.
I just complain the whole time because it's like, bro, like, what have they done to my boy, man? What have they fucking done to it, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, I really am
True.
hoping that somehow
True.
something's changing at Blizzard, and with the next expansion, maybe they do some big overhaul, and it's effectively like WoW, you know, reborn, WoW 2, you know, and they delete all this dog shit that's in the current game, and they make it, you know, they make it what it should be, great again, bro.
Make WoW great again.
Oh, we had that hat. Remember? Make Azeroth great again. Well, I'm glad that I watched that video. Obviously, a lot of people asked me to watch this. There were a lot of really strong opinions about it. We'll read some of the opinions, etc., and go through everything. Because I know, obviously, a lot of people are very... I agree with a lot of things that Quinn said. I think that Quinn talked about PvP too much. I think that PvP is 5% of the game. And I think that WoW has a huge... Quinn talked about what I would say is like 10% of the problems in the game in this video. I actually think that like this is like the tip of the iceberg. Now, for every player, it's different, but I think that holistically, it's a lot different. I think part of the issue is the internal issue. People want to be vocal to change the game instead of quitting. They tried that for many expansions. It isn't made for him anymore. It's weird to me that people cling to WoW like it's some kind of identity. If you don't like it, don't play it. Very weird to stress about it. Well, I don't know. I mean, you play a game for a really long time and you're just giving feedback after you play the new version of the game. I mean, you're a popular content creator. Sure. I think that makes sense. I mean, haven't you had conversations with your friends about like video game franchises you used to play? I mean, I like it's so weird that people act like this is some kind of an actual like some like crazy phenomenon. Like I've talked to plenty of friends of mine about like, you know, like different like TV shows and like different stuff like that I've been interested in. Like this is all kinds of things that happen like all the time. Like Gears 1, like Halo, or like Game of Thrones. Like I talk to friends of mine about this stuff all the time. So like, of course you're going to do this. It's normal. Yeah, people want to talk about topics and things that they're interested in. Like, wow. So yeah. That's such an L cop-out. The game originally was made for people, but then they changed it for them after enough they're complaining. They're just afraid to see other people and give the energy back to them. I'm really confused. Yeah, I don't know really what you mean by that. But yeah, I do think that you're right that like WoW's target audience has definitely changed, and I feel like I'm not part of it anymore. It has. Is there a way to fix WoW story-wise? No, and I don't think the current development team at WoW knows how to do that. I don't think that they have the insight and they have the understanding of the game and like narratives in order to do that in a way that doesn't feel patronizing. Aging people complain about a game, and in the good old times, old memories always feel better. Everyone forgets pain. I like your content. Appearance interests me, but I don't think the game is bad. I personally like it, but it's different for sure. Yeah, no, I think so too, and I think that's the case for a lot of games, right? But at the same time, I think that there's a lot of guys that are like me and Quinn. I mean, this is a game that's been out for 20 years, right? So there's a lot of people that have played it for close to that. We've grown up playing it. And for some of us, you know, we've stuck around and played the game. Like, I've been kind of, you know, half and half. Some people have been, like, really invested into it. Other people have just totally quit entirely. And, you know, I'm kind of, like, in the middle, right? And so, of course, we're going to talk about the game that we grew up with, that we've all put collectively, like each of us, probably all of the people talking about this, whether it's like Rax, DM, me, Quinn, we've all put over 10,000 hours into this video game. I think that we're entitled to have an opinion about it. I feel like WoW has been made for FPS and Zoomers. Yeah, I think so too. So... it's too fast. It's too fast paced. It's too complex. There's too much going on. It's exhausting, man. It really is. An important question: why do people keep buying a subscription for expansion when you complain about the game? Just play something else. Well, because I thought I would enjoy the beginning of the expansion, and I have. I mean, like I like playing, leveling up has been fine, and doing the dungeons has been okay, and I'll do the raid and, you know, do like some Mythic Plus, and then I'll probably stop playing. Like, it's really not that big of a deal to me. Like, it's $15. I mean, I don't know. Like like really, it's I'm not really thinking about it a lot, and also it's like my job too. Like I mean, I'm doing this as like a career playing video games, so like it's not really a normal situation, is it? Does not incentivize the Blizzard to say dog shit. It does, but I'm also like, I mean, that's like saying a game reviewer is incentivizing a game developer to continue staying dog shit because they're reviewing a game. Like, I think that really I'm putting out content about a game that a lot of people want to see. It's part of my job, and so I think that that's the way that I want to cover things in the way that I think is fair. And I try to give people the most appropriate and the most authentic perspective possible. And I know some people might not agree with it, but I hope everybody knows that it is my perspective. It is really what I think. So yeah, I mean, I don't think that you should look at a streamer and expect a streamer to play a video game in a way that a normal person does. It's just like you're like that. That's not the way it works. Like it's just such a weird way to look at things. Also allows you to get feedback. Yeah. And like that's the thing too. It's like these are the same people that if I wasn't playing the game, they would say, well, you're not playing the game, so you can't give feedback. And then I am playing the game and they're saying, well, why are you giving feedback if you're still playing the game? Like, there's no way to win. At the end of the day, I just think these people don't want to hear feedback. That's what I think they want to do. They just want you to not talk about the game in a way that they don't agree with. That's the real reason. It's got nothing to do with like how long you did or didn't play the game or anything like that. They take it personally. Yeah, exactly. What do you think about making all expansions available to play so everybody can choose what they like? I think they should make WoW Classic free to play. That'd be crazy. I'd love that. The fact that you went in and knew to give feedback, yeah. And like that is my feedback for the game. And that's what I think about it. And old next trailer should put all the old gods being released. They're all dead. Like the end of BFA killed them. I spent $8,000 on WoW tokens. I don't want any criticism. Yeah, exactly, right? Like Genshin players. Hard to make free to play with no true moderation. Yeah, I mean, like WoW like doesn't have any moderation at all. Really, it seems, unless it's like automated. So yeah, I mean, I'm passionate about the game. I try not to be like angry about the game and like upset about it, but I just want to be able to enjoy the game and play it. And you know, that's it. I think that Quinn brings up a lot of good points. I'll read some comments. World of Warcraft has begun once again. Killed his PoE character for nothing. Killed your PoE character for this. You can tell Quinn persona isn't an act. Yep, for sure. I'm playing because of loneliness at this point. Early access did kill the hype for me. Toby died for that. I don't know who Toby is. Probably the PoE character, I'm assuming. Early access for the expansion again. You'll record the same video again. You'll be in the same rank in League and won't clear in-game PoE in 2. Yeah, well, I mean, he's a streamer, right? I mean, I don't know why. It's weird that, like, I think the problem is that a lot of, like, Twitch viewers, they actually think that streamers are just the same as them that are sitting in, like, their room, that are on a computer with a camera on. But streaming is a career. It's a job. There's a lot that is involved with it. And talking about it a lot kind of breaks the fourth wall, and it hurts the immersion of it. So a lot of streamers don't talk about it. But I always find it to be like, I think that my audience is like old enough now to where like a lot of you guys are in your 30s or like your late 20s. And so like you get that like it's an entertainment show at the same time, but like we're playing games and it's like, yeah, of course there's a level of relatability to it. But at the same time, it's also a performance and like, you know, everybody kind of gets it, right? People get it. It's like you go to, it's basically like, I think these are the kinds of people that go to like wrestling or they go to like a Penn and Teller magic show and they try to figure out how the trick was, like they're trying to figure out and see and be like, there's no way they actually did that. They're like trying to prove that it wasn't actual magic. Or like they're trying to like, oh, wrestling isn't actually real. Whereas like, I think that a lot of older viewers know that it's not entirely real and they just like to enjoy the experience of watching content that they think is funny, right? So yeah, reading too much into it. Yeah, people read way too much into it. You know, most popular streamers in the world, would Blizzard listen if you tell them something about WoW? I think that Blizzard listens to what my opinions are, but of course they don't necessarily agree with them. I think that also the truth is that WoW has been designed in a way that is not what I want to play anymore as much. And there are a lot of people that like playing Retail WoW. Retail WoW is a popular game. It's not like it's a dead game. Nobody plays Retail WoW. But it's just simply not something I'm not interested in anymore. Like, they want a modern audience. Yeah, and I'm not a modern audience. I'm not really. Like, I don't like that kind of stuff. I think it's cringe. Like, I mean, it's been really refreshing for me personally to go back and play games. Like, recently, you know, obviously we did Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, and off stream I played a lot of Dragon's Dogma, and it's been like so incredibly refreshing to go back and play some of these older games that are just totally outside of that whole like spectrum and mindset. And I really enjoyed it a lot. It was old games have been really fun. Yeah. Well, now I'm actually getting back into Monster Hunter. I've started playing Monster Hunter again, and I think we're gonna beat Fatalis pretty soon. I'm gonna change the way that my character is made. I'm gonna build up a new set of gear, and yeah, we're gonna finish up Monster Hunter. Considering Wilds is coming out soon, yeah, I started playing it again last night. So that's the plan. And yeah, either way, I think that a lot of people have criticisms for WoW, but I think that what really killed WoW more than anything is that WoW focused on the people that it shouldn't. It focused on the 1%, and it focused on the like fractions of like these like tiny small groups of people, and it made content and it designed things around them and around making them feel good rather than around making the game feel fun. And I think it's like basically you're catering the game and you're making it to where it's like these are the people that you're designing it for, where these like super hardcore players or like super casual players. And like you're seeing like raids that are like just extremely hard. Like I don't find it to be like, I don't know what to say other than the game just doesn't really feel fun. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a better way to say it that like makes more sense maybe to more people. Like, it just seems like the game has been designed more and more for people who want to like treat it like a esport, basically. They've tried to like hyper balance and make it like a hyper esport. And I think that in the process of that, they've made the game less fun. I'll be right back. That's kind of the way I feel. We good. Look at one other thing. Have you seen the game Aska? No, I haven't seen anything about that, actually. Do you think WoW's story is designed to be modern and soft in a manner, but the gameplay is completely on the opposite side of the spectrum? For the sweats that wouldn't really be into that thing? Yeah, I think that WoW's story is like really girly. It's like not masculine at all. It's super boring. The characters aren't relatable. They're just like awful versions of real life people that I don't like. And yeah, that's about all I think. There aren't cool characters anymore. All the characters are losers. Like, they're just obnoxious losers. Like, Ilaria's obnoxious and a loser. Xalatath is just like some like bad bitch power fantasy. Khadgar's a stupid old man. Anduin is a bitch. I just don't think that any of them, like, they're not likable at all. I don't relate to any of them. I don't think they're cool. It's really just that simple. I just don't think they're cool. Like Garrosh or Thrall from Warcraft 3 was cool. Or Grom or Illidan. Yeah. Like Varian, like, yeah. Trallian's a bitch. Yeah, they're not cool. Straight up. Fucking Sunday made you think, yeah, Sunday in Honkai Star Rail was a better character than Blizzard has made of any character in WoW since probably Legion. It's pathetic. It is. It is. It's pathetic, bro. And the reason why. So this is the reason why. It's because Blizzard isn't able to. They're not able to write good villains because they are afraid of making the villains sound accurate or reasonable or likable. And that's the issue. Is that like they can only write these like super evil villains like Thanos. Yeah, like if you look at, for example, like there are a lot of really good villains in stories, but I think that Blizzard is infected with like the Western mind virus of we can't let our fantasy have real life parallels that could reflect things that we disagree with politically. And I see a lot of stories that go into that direction. And I think that Blizzard definitely falls into that trap. I think that the Diablo 4 story is a really good example of that too. It's like the very typical, very boring, the church is actually the bad guys and Narius is the one who is wrong. Like, it's this like safe, modern like mentality where like everything is written from the perspective of what if everything your parents and the generation that brought you up said wasn't true. It just feels like it's bratty. It's like it's iconoclastic in a like I'm trying to think of a in a self-indulgent way. It's just it at the end of the day, it's just not cool. Like I think that's what it comes down to, right? Is like I can use like fucking thesaurus words of like, oh, it's like the icons of you know, Roman Catholicism and Western culture, and then this being broken down with, you know, the raw value of hedonism. But like, who cares about that? It's not cool. It's not. It doesn't reveal anything. I think fantasy stories are at their best when they use a fantastical world to tell a story that's extremely human. And I think that Lord of the Rings does that really well. I think Game of Thrones does that really well. And I think that almost every single fantasy story does that really well. Fantasy stories are never really about killing the dragon. The fantasy stories are making the hero's journey, and the dragon is the metaphor of the hero's journey. And people forget that, and they start thinking too much about the dragon. It's not about the dragon. It's about what the dragon represents. And it's, again, people that don't know. I don't think that they're not very good at writing. I don't think they're good at making characters. The characters aren't interesting. They're not cool. Like, Freeren's a great example, right? Like, it's crazy for me to watch Freeren and then watch a number of other I'm not gonna like list off all the ones that I think are mediocre, right? But I've watched a number of other animes recently, and it's amazing that not even once with Freeren did I even think about losing interest in the show, even though so much less was happening. It all feels commercialized. It's just very it's like vapid and mediocre. And I think that's just all it comes down to, is the content just simply isn't cool. Straight up. And if you want me to be totally honest, I think the problem there is that the people that are writing it aren't that cool either. I think they're not that cool, they're not that interesting, and they can't translate that into any sort of a cool story. That's straight up what it is. That's what I think. I think they're not interesting, they're not cool, they're not imaginative, they don't have like any edge to them, and their writing is just flat. Straight up, and I do think it matters. So, yeah, that's what I think. Bunch of dorks writing dorks. Yeah.